In this module, we will discuss the importance of communication. As a member of a performance improvement team, you will be working very closely with the process you are trying to improve, and you and the members of your team will have a lot of information. But don't forget, those who have not been working on their project won't have those details. It is very important to share your findings. You can share your performance improvement activities through the use of communication tools such as minutes, quarterly reports, or presentations. We will also discuss the key elements that should be included in a performance improvement presentation and learn how to critique the layout of a presentation. Your organization will have its own reporting structure for performance improvement activities. This slide shows us an example of how a hospital may set up the communication process for the performance improvement team. In this example, the performance improvement team will set an agenda for their meeting. As you may recall, an agenda is the list of topics that the committee will discuss at their meeting. Once the team meets, the items they discuss, along with any recommendations, will be recorded in the meeting minutes. We will discuss meeting minutes in our next slide. The performance improvement team may choose to report their activities or findings using a report or a storyboard. We will discuss this later. The Patient Safety Council or other appropriate committee will review the report or storyboard with the performance improvement team. From there, the findings are shared with the Medical Executive Committee, the medical staff, and on up to the Board of Directors. Of course, the findings of every performance improvement team won't be shared with the Medical Executive Board, Board of Directors, or the medical staff departments. Who the results are shared with will depend upon the topic of your project. Some findings may have to be shared with your accrediting body, such as the Joint Commission or other regulatory agencies. Once the performance improvement project is complete, the organization may decide to share the outcome with its communities of interest, such as employees, patients, the medical staff, or other employers in your area. There are several ways to communicate performance improvement data. It is not uncommon to find this type of information on the organization's website. Many healthcare organizations publish their care quality initiatives in their annual report. The Department of Health and Human Services uses report cards to report their findings on the performance of every licensed long-term care facility. The report cards show how each facility performed in respect to the state's established criteria. Let's talk about meeting minutes. Minutes are the written record of key events in a formal meeting. It is very important that minutes be kept for meetings. Minutes help the team keep track of its progress and activities. There are several different formats that can be used for the meeting minutes. Typically, an organization will have their preferred style. The committee or team's recorder or secretary should be someone who knows how to record the minutes. One style of minutes is the craft method. The recorder only focuses on the necessary documentation. The conclusion of the group discussion, the recommendations made by the committee or team, the actions that the team decided to take, and any follow-up activity that is necessary. An example of this method can be found in your textbook. But remember, this is not the only style that can be used. You will want to check with your organization and ask what style they use. Regardless of the format of the minutes, it is important to document what was discussed and decided during your meetings. This will be helpful when someone misses a meeting or if you have to look back to see what was done previously. In addition to keeping a record of your meeting through the use of minutes, your team should also provide a report to the Performance Improvement and Patient Safety Council on a regular basis. Remember, your facility may have a different name for the group they report their findings. The frequency of your report will most likely depend upon how long you are working on a project. Some projects may require a weekly or monthly report, while others may require only a report on a quarterly basis. The report will be based on the documented meeting minutes and should include information about the performance improvement activities. such as summaries of the data that was collected and any conclusions or recommendations that the performance improvement team has to report. Storytelling is another effective way to report your performance improvement activities. Just as the name implies, you are telling the story of your project, findings, and recommendations. Storytelling can be in the form of a storyboard, a PowerPoint presentation, or some other electronic presentation. Regardless of which format you use, all effective storytelling will include the elements listed on this slide. Here is an example of some of the sections you may want to include in your storyboard. Of course, you would add your own data, graphics, and some style to your storyboard. A storyboard is typically a physical display presentation on a cardboard trifold. The display may include printouts of documents or graphs and charts created on a computer. Poster presentations are created entirely electronically using software such as PowerPoint or some other software. Both are used to summarize the performance improvement team's activities. Either of these can be used to explain the team's work to those who may not be very familiar with the project. Electronic presentation software has streamlined the storytelling process. Many healthcare organizations have their performance improvement team's activities showcased in a prominent place in order to educate a large number of people on the performance improvement activities that are being performed. It also is a way to recognize the staff's participation and accomplishments. When creating a storyboard, it is important to follow a few rules. Before getting started, you should prepare by mapping out the space on a clean board and clearly label each section. Plan your presentation to ensure that it will not only fit the size of the storyboard, but the information fits on the panels. Use large fonts, like 24 point or greater, so that people can read your board from a distance. You won't be able to include all of your information on your storyboard because it will look a little too cluttered. Keep detailed information in a team record binder in case you need to refer to it. You'll want your board to stand out and be attractive. Be creative with the use of color and other visual enhancements, but do not go over the top. You do not want to distract from the content of your presentation. Just like your storyboard, there are similar rules that will apply to your electronic presentation. Before you get started, the layout must be organized. Include a header for each of your sections within your presentation. Your presentation must be able to be read easily. This means it is important to choose the right font style and size. You will want to leave some space as you design your poster. Keep it neat and uncluttered. Use clear and succinct wording throughout the poster. When presenting your performance improvement activities and recommendations, remember to choose a method that will effectively communicate your message.